Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. When I was younger and more naive than I am right now, I thought that the polls of opinion and the surveys are to inform the population, or at least inform the guys in charge of us, the elected officials, about areas where the society can be improved. Let's say the population said this, or we had an opinion of this. Okay, then we have to tweak that issue. We have an issue here. If the entire population, or let's say 80% of the population, says we are against let's say, pension reform, so-called, in France, then the president of France would not sign a law that would oppose the 80% of the population, of the survey, of the opinion poll. But with time, I realized that actually those opinion polls are just made for political interests, not to solve problems. That is, to build legitimacy or to make sure that you are on the right direction. And then immediately after you make a decision based on an opinion poll, you immediately run another opinion poll to find out the reaction of your decision. So let's say the population is 50-some% about an issue. You say, okay, let's say 60%. Okay, so that means if I push this garbage, make a law or make this decision, the population, I should have at least 40%. That's what I'm looking for, 40% of the population, no more. 40% population will still vote for me, or they will approve of what I'm doing. And then immediately after I, create that little law, I implement it, I give it a few days, and then I say, you know what? Let's run another one. You run another one to see how the population responded to that. And you gauge to see you lost people or you gained people. Right? Or you at least build legitimacy. Like, for instance, then you make an opinion poll and say, see, some people, many people in a society agree with our policy, even though, let's say, you have a 42%. But you say, hey, 42% is a lot. No, it's how you look at it. So in this case, we have NATO that would like to go, and as I said many times, which I think it's a fact, will get in a hot war with Russia, direct hot war, but we are not actually attacking you, and you can't actually attack us, but we are defending ourselves by shooting down your whatever means of attack you have against Ukraine. But we are protecting ourselves. So it's a weasel way of entering someone's house or someone else's issue. And I can punch you, but I do it in self-defense, but you can't claim self-defense or anything like that, because actually I'm not punching you. I'm just defending myself by punching you. So what's going on here? We have the Poles who, remember I said many, many times that NATO, after Ukraine is depleted of fighting men, will try to get fresh blood into the war, which is going to be the Poles, who have balls, and then you have the Baltic states. It's a big problem with the Baltic states, I will explain. Or then Romanians, not Hungarians. The Hungarians are smart. And or the Slovaks. So far, Mr. Fico said no. And then maybe you get, as I said, in the Caucasus, the Armenians, the Georgians, those two. Georgians will start first, and then Armenia will help them. And then they will create a second front eventually. So that's another fresh blood that NATO, these weasels, would use. You say, what are you talking about? Armenia and Georgia are not even part of NATO. All right, let's don't turn full retard here. We know what's going on over there. You just look who arms those guys, okay? And where are they going? Nevertheless, go to Europe, because we talk about Poland. Poland says now, it made an opinion poll to build legitimacy. They don't care about that. Remember Macron, 80% against his pension reform, and he still did it. That tells me he didn't give a fuck. There are certain points where he just say, you know what, je m'en fous, I don't care. And let's look at this little article. Ukrinform survey says 63% is more than the officials in Warsaw need. Of Poles believe Poland should down Russian missiles over Ukraine. So that is 60%, according to the poll, 60% of the Polish people, which they say that's overwhelming. That's the term they can use. Overwhelming majority of the Poles agree with Poland defending itself by shooting Russian missiles, incoming Russian missiles, in towards Poland. Now, you are over there, I'm over here. Let's say you are 10 meters away from me or 10 yards away from me, and I start punching. and you start shooting at me because you say, hey, this punch is gonna reach me. When are you gonna react? When I come close to you, when I'm far away? But it's a different technicality. Let's look what these guys look into what these guys are saying. But basically, we're gonna shoot Russian missiles over Ukrainian territory that come in our way. Self-defense, remember when you guys, your missile came and went out? Remember that one? Yeah, we don't accept that again. We're tough. Now, Poland should launch negotiations with Ukraine and NATO on the possibility of shooting down missiles flying toward is the key term, toward Poland in the areas of Ukraine close to the border with Poland. No, all you can do is shoot them down once they enter your territory. That's all you can do, but they don't want that. They want to get involved and help Ukraine. What? Not help Ukraine. Push at the same or pull at the same carriage their masters demand. This is the opinion expressed by the majority of Poles. No, overwhelming majority of Poles. 63% according to a survey run by the IBRIS Center of Respospolia, reports Ukrinform. I'm not gonna do it, but anyway. When asked whether Poland should conduct negotiations with NATO, they're not conduct negotiations, they follow orders. And Ukraine on ensuring air defense of the territory of Ukraine in order to be able to shoot down Russian missiles flying towards Poland, 37.6% of respondents answered yes. Well, and then 31.1% rather no. So we have a majority, we can do it. Only 17.6% of respondents have the opposite opinion on this matter. In particular, 9.1% answered this question as definitely no, and 8.5% answered rather not. On the other hand, 13.1% remained undecided, my friends. So the survey was conducted on January 26 to 27 and covered 1,070 respondents. As Ukrinform reported on December 29th, during the largest missile attack on Ukraine in 2023, one of the Russian missiles violated Polish airspace. However, everything indicates that it did not fall but left the borders of the country back into Ukraine. The missile remained in the airspace of Poland for about 3 minutes after it flew almost 40 kilometers deep into the country. Now, obviously, everything that enters my violates my territory should be shot down, except people who violate our territory on foot. No, they should be allowed. But missiles, yes, they should be destroyed. Okay. Now that's the first one. Second, so that happened in December 29th. So that it's more than a month ago. They made this decision now. Why? What changed? Ukraine is not doing very well. Correct? I don't think it's doing very well on the front line, so these guys are a little bit desperate. So that happened in the 29th of December. Now, they reacted in a month. Remember that missile, that the Russians contest the report that it was their missile going in and coming out. Nevertheless, let's say it was a Russian missile coming in and coming out. Now, a Russian missile, if it violates your territory, is less important than a Ukrainian missile, or a missile is a missile? Well, a missile is a missile, correct? Correct. Why? Because it causes damage. Regardless if it's Ukraine's missile, American missile, French missile, if it goes in your territory and violates your airspace, that is an incoming threat. So you defend yourself of the missiles, not the Russian missiles, because the missiles are neutral. They just come and destroy in the same way. A Russian missile destroys the same way a Ukrainian missile, a French missile, a Belarusian missile, a Romanian missile. Correct. Then why do you shoot only the Russians' missiles coming their way, but not the Ukrainian missiles? Why? Because if you remember, more than a year ago, and that was in last fall, 2022, it was a Ukrainian missile, S-300 was, or S-200, flew into Poland, violated its airspace, landed and killed 2 people driving a tractor somewhere on the village road, which I think that was guided, that was not a coincidence. Because if you look over the map, when that occurred, and I made a video on that or two, look over the map of the village and the position, and it's almost impossible to hit, almost impossible. It's like winning 3 lotteries in a row each weekend or week or whatever the lotteries are. So hitting them right there, to moving truck on the street or somewhere in a not populated area. It has so much territory where it could have fallen, but no, it hit exactly. That's why I'm saying this was not a coincidence. Now, if that's the case, why don't you say we're going to hit the Ukrainian missiles that shoot up to destroy the Russians' missiles incoming? Because we know that one of them came and did even worse than the Russian missile allegedly did. Not only entered the territory and went back, entered the territory and killed 2 Polish people. Now, is that a declaration of war? So why is that missile treated differently than the other missile? Is it because of the origin? Is it because the other guys are supposedly the aggressors, or a missile is a missile? A human life is a human life. Who takes it, regardless who does it, is a criminal. Now in this case we have the Ukrainians killing 2 Poles, not the other ones. So you can shoot it once they come and enter your territory, 100%. But I don't think you can shoot in other countries' territory to shoot down something that you have nothing to do. I understand the Poles, you shoot it down on your territory, but that's not the goal. The goal is Ukraine is losing. And when it's losing, these guys need to get involved. Remember, I've been saying this many, many times. The NATO countries, some, will be pushed by the Americans in under the pretext of, let's say, lifesavers, peacekeeping force, love-making troops, something like euphemism. And they will see non-combatants. They will not be engaged in the war with Ukraine. They will start just make sure that they help. It's humanitarian for the heart. They're going to get, let's say, in the Polish area, Lviv area, and then just in the western. But then they were not reported. They actually will ooze eastwards towards the front, many of them. And they say, hey, yeah, those guys were just, peacekeeping force, love-making troops. That's what they will do. They do it right now, I think, covertly. Then they say, yeah, we're over here to just train you guys and just guide you and just advise you, military advisors. Like in Vietnam, remember? The US had just military advisors and they were in active fighting. So these things don't fool me, at least. That's why I talk to you. So here, my friends, is, I think, the Polish involvement in this. The Poles are asking, but you see, these guys are pushing. They say, in self-defense, only you, not you. You can destroy my population how much you want. My people, if they're killed by Ukraine, seem to be, but killed by the Russians, no, not even killed. It's just because they have the order to get involved. Now with the Baltic states have a population of 6.1 million people. So that is 2 hours of Russian invasion. That's what it is. Don't give me Ukraine, okay, because Ukraine is not fighting alone. About 30 countries are fighting against Russia right now. So let's get it. So if you take Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia in a real fight with Russia, about 2 hours and 25 minutes. I mean, you can watch a football game and then see, are they done yet? Oh yeah, it's an extra time. That's how you would do with those countries. But they're over there just to create problems. It's just the little needle. See how small a needle could be? Or let's say a flea. A flea, it pinches you. It's just a little fucker that you don't even barely see and causes discomfort. Or a mosquito. Fuck. All right, the same is with this guy. Can be smacked in a second, but that's not the point. That's the tip of the iceberg, the very small tip, okay? Not 25% of whatever, 15% of the iceberg. No, not that. They want to drag the other ones in and say, no, you can't hit us. You see, Americans fight with others always from far away, and they don't want to be hit. And with a coalition. It was like, if you remember ancient Rome had auxiliary forces. Auxiliary forces were other nations, other people, vassal states, vassal tribes, that they will incorporate in their armies, not very trusted by them, and they were the first one to go and fight. So we were fighting, let's say, the Germans, And then we had some Chechens, or we have some, how do you call it, Thracians, let's say, and we put the artillery of auxiliary forces to fight the Germans, the Germanic tribes. And that's the way it was. And then after these guys were doing the heavy lifting, then we're coming, charge, and we clear everything with our legions. It was easy like that. So the same thing the Americans are doing. When they have a coalition, they have these guys here. The same the Germans did. In Stalingrad, do you remember where the Soviets broke the front? Go and see what troops were over there. Hungarian, Romanian, some Germans. Why? In Stalingrad? What the fuck they have to do with it? They were allies? Look into it. Anyway, that's always been like this and always will be like this because that's the way we are. So yeah, the Poles want to pinch in the name of that guy, but not be pinched back or punched back. That's what they want to do. And I know how the Russians will do it because the Russians already showed, I think, weakness. Or I don't want to say tolerance because that's stupid. I think weakness. When they should have said certain things very tough at the beginning. And this is my point. One bullet comes from you guys, all you motherfuckers over there that are googly eyeing me right now. One bullet you send to my enemy, we're gonna fuck you up. I don't think this, and we say, you see this finger? It's not gonna go in my ass, it's gonna go on those buttons, like that. I'm gonna play toccata, fungi, whatever, right there, just for you, right? Here is, yeah, Johann Sebastian Bach, by the way. So I mentioned it before because it's a favorite piece of music, an organ. So my friends, here it is. They will get involved and they will do it. They will get all the agreements. They just shoot it in the air and see how the Russians will react. If the Russians don't react and they say, that will escalate the, fuck you, let's do it. They did this to every time NATO said, oh, I'm going to send some juveniles, whatever. And the Russians, that would escalate the situation. Psst, idiot, let's send it. Next, howitzers. How about we send some howitzers? That would escalate the... Oh, fuckers, go. Next one. Armored vehicles. We're gonna maybe send some. They're talking about sending armored vehicles. That would escalate the. We're gonna respond. Let's go. And they did it. Then now they send what? They're gonna shoot inside. What next is gonna be a no-fly zone over Ukraine? Said someone. I bet that is half to that no-fly zone. So get ready. And the Russians will be, you can push back or you try to not to create, but you deal with crazies. When you deal with crazies, you have to smack. Like you have a rabies infested or infected dog. You can't just say, oh, buddy, come on, man. No, you fuck the dog up. And what are you going to do? Or you're going to just climb in a tree and say, oh, like an idiot? Oh, come on, Gigi. You're a bad boy now. No. That's a rabies-infected dog that tries to bite you real bad. What are you going to do? Subdue the dog. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.